Joined by Coach Frye as the Gamecocks prepare to head down to Gainesville, the annual trip to the Florida Relays, maybe the first big meet of the outdoor season. Coach, before we talk about Gainesville, though, let's rewind back to Charleston last Saturday, the Buccaneer Invitational. Fantastic event for you guys. I think I saw close to 40 collegiate bests and maybe most importantly, 18 individual victories. When your team is at a meet, and it seems like every 10 or 15 minutes, it's another Gamecock crossing the finish line first or another Gamecock jumping the highest or the furthest. It's got to be a lot of fun to be out there and to experience that level of success, 18 victories in one day.
It is a lot of fun. And an old coach told me once that, anything you can learn losing, you learn twice as well winning. But the quality of the wins are important. When you're having personal best, and that's what our kids, you can only be your best. And so we had a lot of kids have personal best, and that was exciting for me that they are able to do that. And then they get confidence once you have personal best. And in turn, that feeds into camaraderie and fellowship and friendships and stuff. It's when only there are certain kids are going to have good times and run fast, but we need to share the happiness, and last week was share the happiness weekend.
Well, and you really shared the happiness up and down the roster in those 18 victories. It wasn't just the usual suspects, but you had, I know, Kelsey Larkin victorious in the 1,500. Morgan Lee won the 5,000. I know Carson ran a really good 1,500 on the men's side. Noah in the 110 hurdles was victorious. Charisma, a couple victories. Michaela, a couple victories. I hate to start listing them off because I know I'm going to miss some, but you had a lot of different members on the roster, including some who don't normally cross the finish line first that were able to post victories last week.
And yes, we did. And Michaela going home and to her home state, home county, Charleston, and running 11:52 was big. So we're excited about that. It was just not just a win, but the time which she put forth there was good. And it's same with Wadlin winning the 200 meters. It was just a great run. It wasn't just a win. It was a quality time win. And so we'd like to see our kids come along and have wins, but quality times are really important.
You mentioned Wadlin winning the 200, and Aaliyah was right behind her. Both of those were two of the top 10 times in Gamecock history in the outdoor 200-meter, and also 2 times that are probably going to get them into regionals and really up there on the national chart as well. I know those two specialize in the 400 and obviously the 4x4 relay where they won the national championship a few weeks back, but seeing what kind of times that they posted in the 200, does that change anything preparation-wise for those two about what sort of postseason events you plan on putting them in to see how quickly, how fast they ran that 200 at this juncture?
No, it's still preparation in their main event. The faster you can run a 200 meters, that means that you can go through the first 200 on the way to the quarter and not be putting yourself in oxygen debt. So we're trying to lower their 200-meter time such that they can run a faster 400. Tasha Hastings was SEC champion in both events. When she came to school, she was a 23.6 girl. By the time she was a 49-second girl, she was a 22.61. So the goal is to get our girls under 23 seconds such that they can become 50-second girl 400-meter girls. And they're headed in that right direction. Coach Kareem's doing a great job bringing them along and in their speed development. Speed endurance is something that we worked in the fall, continuing that. And this right here is just another stage to prepare them. Like the relays we're getting ready to go through this weekend is another stage of their training.
I wanted to ask you about Jordan Fields last week as well, jumping 175. I think that's as high as she's jumped either indoors or outdoors in about a year. And I know that after really coming on strong indoor season last year, she dealt with some injury issues, and it's taken her a while to get back to that level. But to see Jordan clear 175, I know has got to be an encouragement, not just for you, but also for her and Coach D, that she is on the right track and she's getting back to that level where she can be a first-team All-American.
Yeah, we're looking for that. That was something we missed indoors. Those injuries that they had last year and went through operations, all of our girl jumpers were banged up a little bit. And, if you can go 180, 182, you can be an NCAA All-American. You can score. And so going this early, getting comfortable with that kind of approach, and she was well up. She was high. I mean, she was over 180, and so we're looking for a big weekend from her this week, and getting Lisa back going are two things that we got to have going by the SEC championships.
Let's talk about Florida relays. Gamecocks go to this meet every year, as far as I know, every year that you've been the coach here. What is it about Florida relays? And I know you've got a lot of experience and some history down in Florida as well. What is it about this meet that you make sure that it's circled on the calendar and it's an automatic travel trip every single year for your program?
Well, you get great competition. So there's going to be 70 or 80 teams there, and this region of the country, you're going to have great teams. Then you're going to have maybe a California team or maybe Baylor. Every once in a while you have an outside of the region team that comes in. But this is our region, the southern part of the region, because our region reaches all the way to Maine.
Right.
You know, we got the biggest region in the country. But it gives us a chance to get regional times. And then Florida Relays has great weather. And so Gainesville's a good place for our kids to go and still be able to attend their classes and get it's only 6 hours for us to get to Gainesville. So those are things that makes it attractive for us. We can get high competition. It's our first meet of having the high-end competition, and we don't have to spend a lot of time away from school. We can recover, keep our grades up.
And of course, Florida Relays truly is a relay meet because you're going to run a lot of different relay races this week that aren't scored meets at NCAAs, but are still fun races to run. You got the 4x1, but also the 4x2, the 4x4, the 4x8. I think you've got some sprint medley relays that you're going to enter, and also some shuttle hurdle relays. So it really is a team competition, especially on that last day. Even in those meets where you're not building towards an SEC meet or an NCAA meet, what can those relays do for your team in terms of building team camaraderie and cohesion going forward?
Well, it builds cohesion, but still it's a part of the training tool. We run open events on Friday to give people a chance to run their intermediate hurdles, the 110 hurdles, the 100 meters with high level of competition. And then we run the mile relays, relays the next day. Well, our big idea is the more opportunities you get to run a relay, the bigger chance you get to having a personal best, making your body experience something special. Having some of our quarter milers run a 4x2, having Quincy run a 4x2, such that he could get into a quality speed run. Those are things that those relays do for us. And then along the way, it's trying to move up in the top 10 on our school records to get a chance to break into that category of having them have pride that I'm on the record board. So those are things that we build their confidence on, as where you one of the kids that's on the record board. This is an opportunity.
Sure, everybody likes to be on that list. Last one for you, Coach. You mentioned Fridays, mostly the open events. Scheduled to be Quincy's first 400-meter hurdle race as a Gamecock. You got your women's quarter milers going to be making their outdoor season debuts. Zay in the 110 hurdles. Eric making his debut in the shot put. Probably some others that I'm not thinking about, but you got the full crew going on Friday. For a lot of them, the first time they've competed in their specialty event outdoors. What do you want to see out of that group before the relay starts Saturday? What do you want to see from your open entrance on Friday?
Handling the nerves, because they're going to be nervous. It's really, they're in some fast heats, and so this is just a preparation. How we handle that's lead the rest of the way, because it's going to be the conference meet before we handle that stress. So you got to get to that point. I mean, when we've come to two meets where that wasn't that level of stress, it was breaking the iceberg. This right here is breaking it at a high level. To jump into the hurdles with probably the number one seed down there and try to get one of the top times in the country, that's a lot of pressure to go with a kid. And so let's see how Quincy handles that pressure. And to see how we handle the shot put, going to be in the championship section. Those are important things to find out, because that determines how you're going to handle things getting through the conference and the regional meets. So that's what I'm looking for. Can we handle the pressure? Because because realistically, this is preparation. It doesn't count. It's not scored.
Sure.
But you have to have a test. These are tests. These right here are quizzes. The SEC is a test.
Sure.
And the final
It's an exam.
It's an exam. So you got to get some do well on the quizzes to make sure you feel good about taking the final.
Best of luck this weekend, Coach, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you next week before you head to Georgia.
Hey, let's go Gamecocks. Having a good time. Pulling for the girls this weekend. Dawn Staley's in her umpteenth time in a row of being in the top 16.
6, I think it is.
6 of them in time. And my wife is passing up going to the track meet because she's going to Greensboro.
Oh, really?
And her family is coming over in North Carolina in droves to go watch the basketball game there. So we're pulling high for the girls Gamecocks. So I hope Gamecocks go out and support our girls basketball team, and go Gamecocks.
Thank you, Coach.